Before, during, and after World War II, hundreds of thousands of European Jews fled Europe for safety in other parts of the world. Some immigrated to what is now Israel. Others came to the U.S. Kelly Dunn has more in today's Focus for the Cure. Kelly?
Roxanne, in an article recently published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute, scientists in Israel studied the effects of the war on Holocaust survivors and reached some troubling conclusions.
A recent study looked at hundreds of thousands of European Jews who had immigrated to Israel before, during, and after World War II and compared cancer rates of those who had immigrated before the Second World War to those who had immigrated after the Second World War.
What they found, surprisingly, I think, is that cancer rates were dramatically higher in those people who had stayed in Europe through World War II compared to those who had left earlier. Specifically, they found higher rates of breast cancer, colon cancer, and these were not trivial. I mean, in men, the rate was 3.5 times for the group that had left after the war, and for women it was over twice the risk.
What caused the increase in cancer?
Some of the hypotheses have been that severe caloric restriction during time that people were either in concentration camps or in ghettos during the war, psychological stresses. These were people who were put through an enormous amount of psychological stress.
Eileen Shapiro teaches students about the hardships Holocaust survivors endured.
The conditions were horrible. There was no sanitation. We absolutely talk about the caloric intake that they were given, how little it was, the slave labor that they experienced.
One lingering question is whether the Israeli statistics would apply to the large population of Holocaust survivors in South Florida.
I don't think that you can necessarily extrapolate from the population that emigrated to Israel versus the population that emigrated here, just because there may be differences that we just don't understand between those two groups.
It may be that the study raised more questions than it answered. Further research is needed.
For more information on this story, contact the Susan G. Komen for the Cure helpline. The number 561-514-3020. Jay?